Budgeting. The word alone can make people want to run and hide. But what if budgeting meant spending every dollar you earned? Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? This approach is called zero-sum budgeting. Simply put, you give every dollar you earn a job so that your bottom line totals zero at the end of each month. You use last month's income to pay this month's expenses, from bills to savings. You were probably taught that the goal of your budget is to have money left over at the end of every month. But that approach can quickly lead to spending money on things you don't really need. Every budget begins with an understanding of how much you actually spend. Start by listing your fixed monthly expenses. Then identify your variable expenses. You know, the ones that vary from month to month. A good rule of thumb with variable expenses: when in doubt, overestimate. That way you'll always be covered. Now it's time to see how your expenses stack up against your income. To make sure you aren't spending more than you earn, we recommend you budget according to your base salary. That way, after a pay period when your earnings were higher, maybe due to overtime or a bonus, your budget will reflect extra money that can be used to pay down debt or boost your savings. Zero-sum budgeting is more than allocating your money. It's the perfect time for reevaluating your spending, especially if your expenses consistently leave you in the negative. Some of the easiest ways to cut back on spending is to focus on your needs, eliminating those small daily expenses you may not really need. You want to be sure to give any extra money a job so that your budget totals zero. To do this, think of yourself as a bill that needs to be paid each month. But instead of that money going to someone else, it goes into a savings account. This is called Pay Yourself First, and it's an easy way to build up an emergency savings for covering your expenses in case of job loss or medical emergency, or to save for any goals you may have, like taking a vacation, buying a home, or retiring. Now, here are some tips on how you can make zero-sum budgeting work for you.
Saving systematically is really important for your zero-sum budget. I prefer to have multiple savings accounts because if I keep all of my money in one spot, it's too confusing to say, did I make this payment? Do I have enough to make this payment? So I utilize my savings account specifically for saving, and then I use the other savings accounts that I have that are possibly for different bills and also fun things like a vacation. Every paycheck, so much goes into each one of those accounts, and that way when the time comes and I need that money, it's there and I know exactly how much I have set aside for it. So it's really important when you're working through your budget to figure out how much you want to each of those accounts, so that way you can be prepared for when that paycheck comes in, that you know specifically how much you're going to have left over after all of your money gets put into the proper spots.
So what is the best way to use those you-name-it savings accounts and keep them growing? This can be easily done by setting up automatic transfers from your paycheck or direct deposit. If you notice you're routinely spending more or less in some categories than you thought, simply adjust or readjust your budget so it totals zero the following month. Because your zero-sum budget uses last month's income to pay this month's expenses, you'll need to get a month ahead. To do so, save 1 month's expenses in your savings account and use those funds for next month's budget. A good time to start your zero-sum budget will be after receiving a tax refund or during a month that you receive 3 paychecks instead of 2. Your zero-sum budget forces you to give purpose to every dollar you have, giving you more control of your money and helping you get money ahead. Budgeting can seem overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. As a financial cooperative, Dupaco is there to help you through the budgeting process and create a realistic plan that's right for you.